Well, hi again, everybody. Welcome to Inside Golf. I'm Harry Donahue, and if you have watched our show in the past, you recognize that sign. And where we are, we're with Lou Guzzi outside the laboratory at Tullamore. Lou, PGA Teacher of the Year a couple of years ago, and this time of the year, in addition to golf lessons, he's out here getting his cords ready to keep warm inside the laboratory. Now let's see if the scientist is in here. Let's see if Lou's at work. Well, in the laboratory, and Lou Guzzi's at work, stoking the fire for another not long winter's nap, but a lot of lessons.
Absolutely, a lot of wood too, Harry.
And how many cords we saw
right
out
now
there?
This year 5. That's the most we've had so far in the building. We're planning on a big year.
All right, what do we got on store today?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about the swing, of course, and the things that we can do this winter to stay in shape. Don't put the clubs away. We need to work through the winter so we're ready for spring.
I know one thing that you like to talk about is maybe that little chip shot where somebody gets, you know, putters have their yips, and so do, I know, we hate to talk about that. That's like the S word, right?
Yeah, but we got
the Y word.
Yeah, we got a little trick there for that.
But, you know, let's confront it head on.
It is, and you know, great players have the chipping, yips, that's the word. And we've got a little answer here to help anybody out that's having trouble with their chipping.
That's one thing on tap today here at the laboratory. The other is we're going to meet Bubba. Now, not Bubba Watson, but maybe this is the next Bubba Watson.
I'll tell you what, really good player, fine young man, 122 plus mile an hour club head speed, so we're all going to see it.
And he's going to be doing it right here with the stove on in Lou's laboratory at Tullamore. And we'll be back. PGA Teacher of the Year, our good friend of the show, Lou Guzzi.
Working on the grip.
Here on Inside Golf.
Inside Golf, now celebrating its 20th season, is presented by Destination Montco Golf. 54 courses, 300,000 yards. Check them out at montcogolf.com. By the First Tee of Philadelphia. The First Tee helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit thefirstteephiladelphia.org. By the Golf Association of Philadelphia, GAP, celebrating amateur golf since 1897. By Jersey Man Magazine, it's a Jersey way of life. And by Philly Man Magazine, bringing it to Broad Street. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia Section PGA, experts in the game and business of golf. Take time to thank your local PGA golf professional.
Along with being stewards of the game of golf, your local PGA professional wears many hats.
We are teachers.
We are players.
We are managers.
We are merchandisers.
And community leaders.
But we all wear one badge.
PGA professionals are well-trained experts who work hard to share the joy of golf with our neighbors for over 90 years. To find your local PGA professional, visit phillypga.com. Brought to you by the Philadelphia section of the PGA.
We are the experts in the game and business of golf.
Welcome back to Inside Golf. We're at Tullamore. We're at Lou Guzzi's laboratory getting ready for the wintertime and how to stay in shape with a few tips or two. And Lou, let's get it out of the way. We talked about it in the opening.
We did.
Yips, not with the putter, but with the chipping motion, right? It happens.
Yeah, it does.
And what are you going to do to
Unfortunately, it's happened
get
to
over it?
Some really good players too. You know, not just amateurs, but to golf professionals as well and PGA Tour players.
Did I talk about it? Did I mention the word? The Y word?
It's not fun. And if you've experienced the yips with putting or chipping, I certainly experienced it with putting years ago. The best way I can describe it is you're in a position where you feel like you can't move forward. And then all of a sudden you try to move forward and there's a force pushing the other way. Next thing you know, whoop, whoop, you yip it. But, you know, for our chipping, I've got a little tip here that might be able to help the viewers out.
Let's take a look.
Okay.
It's all yours.
One of the things that we want to do with a good chip is obviously get set up. So I'll go over pretty much the fundamentals real quickly here. We're setting up.
Now you have what there? It's a
This is a sand wedge, 56 degree.
Okay.
And I'm going to just have the ball basically in the middle of my stance. And all we're going to do is we're going to kind of get the arms and hands a little closer to the body. And we're just making a little body turn back and through. I'm going to brush the ground, and this is the key. I'm going to brush the ground just a little bit behind the ball. So visualize a quarter right behind the golf ball, and all you're trying to do is clip the coin.
So you're not trying to hit the back of the ball, you're trying to hit just maybe quarter, half inch behind where the ball is.
That's right. And I'm actually going to use the bounce on the club. So the trailing edge, which is back here, is going to hit the ground first. This way the club won't dig. One of the things that gets people in trouble when the yips start to come is that leading edge right here actually hits the ground first, and then it actually digs into the ground, and then of course the yips come. The other thing that we're going to do, when we make this little body move back and through, I'm actually going to initiate the downswing with the rotation of my hips. So I'm going to be light with grip pressure, arms and hands are nice and relaxed, rotate the body but initiate the downswing with the hips, club's nice and light, soft hands, soft chips. Here we go. So I'm going to get set up, just a little bit of ground right before the ball. That's where I'm going to put my eyes too. So I'm going to visualize clipping the coin, rotate the hips. That's going to move the club into position beautifully. We're not going to feel like that throw from the arms and hands that gets us in trouble with
Now you're using the sand wedge, but the same principles are involved whether you're hitting with a sand wedge or 9-iron, or maybe some people on a longer chip with a 7-iron or something like that.
That's right. So I have a 7-iron here. I'm going to do the exact same thing. Now the ball's going to come out a lot lower. One of the things you want to do, Harry, when you're chipping is you want to look at the green, evaluate where you want to land the ball. That's your intermediate target. From there, what club with the lie that you have, and in this case it's a good lie, landing the ball to the intermediate target and allowing it to roll the rest of the way to the flag. So obviously if the flag's closer to us and we land the ball just on the green, we're going to need a higher lofted club.
You're not hitting a 7-iron.
No, but
Yeah.
I'll tell you what though, a lot of people don't know this, and they don't know they can chip with hybrids, 5-irons, 7-irons, wedges. They just grab that lob wedge or sand wedge and they go. They throw the ball too far onto the green, they're not utilizing enough green. Let's get the ball down low, let's get it running as quick as we can like a putt.
You know what else we see, especially with tour pros, is that little motion, usually with a higher club like a sand wedge or a wedge, where they hit it close to the pin, it'll take one bounce and then bingo,
Yep.
stops. They got a lot of spin on it. How does that happen?
Well, part of it is the fact that they're aggressive with their wedges. And a lot of people, they're intimidated by the wedge, so they're not aggressive with it. They're not crisp
When you say
enough with
aggressive, you mean speed-wise at impact?
That's right. You know, so that nice crisp look when they hit the chip. You'll see sometimes a bigger backswing with a short abbreviated follow-through. So going back to the wedge, and then they get that extra spin on there. And remember, when you're taking a little bit of the ground with a brushing action, not a downward strike, you're going to get that ball riding up on the face beautifully, and it'll have a nice little spin to it. Light grip pressure, soft arms and hands, you're going to get a nice soft shot. Harry, I'm just going to hit one shot here with a 7-iron, using the same technique with about the same energy that I just put into that wedge. And there's a totally different flight.
A lower launch angle, but it's going to hit and then roll out.
It's going to roll out.
To a farther away pin.
Yeah, and it could be a flag that's in the back of the green, 2 levels. You hit the bottom level, it goes up the hill. You need that little giddy up from the 7-iron, runs to the back, might get it up and down.
So all your problems with yips when it comes to chipping have been solved here in the laboratory.
Pressure, initiate with that lower body.
Okay, you got some other gadgets here.
Some toys.
What is this thing?
This is an orange whip. This is a
Orange whip.
very popular item.
Why?
PGA Tour players have it. It's flexible, it's weighted. There's a great video online that you can grab. A buddy of mine, Jimmy, who invented the orange whip, tells you all about it. It's a great thing to do in the wintertime.
In the wintertime?
All year long. So a lot of people, when they swing the club, get anxious from the top. This is what I use it for most with students. They jump that transition. Next thing you know, they're out.
Give us an example.
We're just going to go back and forth with it.
Okay.
So what I'm going to do with it is I'm just going to set it up above the ground and just start making my swing.
Nice and easy.
Yeah, feeling that shift in weight. Now, because it's so flexible, you have to be patient before you move the other way.
I'm starting to hear that little whip sound.
Isn't that great?
That's what we want to hear?
Yeah. So now what I like about it is it gives the student and the player the ability to feel patient at the top, transition smooth, shaft loads, and then you pour on the speed.
Well, we'll be back to the laboratory. We're going to meet Bubba, one of Lou's prized pupils. Bubba is next with Lou Guzzi. We're at the laboratory at Talamore here on Inside Golf.
The first tee of Greater Philadelphia, where golf is more than a game.
Success requires hard work. No way around it. Realize timing is key. Be willing to push yourself. Stay in control. Trust technology to support you. My father once said, "Doesn't matter what you do in life, just be the best at it."
Well, welcome back to Inside Golf. We're here with Lou Guzzi and his laboratory at Talamore. And Lou, this is Patrick Sheehan. You're still looking at that ball for
I'm still waiting for it to come down.
a little moonshot, huh?
Wow.
Okay, Patrick, how you doing?
Good.
Your nickname is Bubba, and I guess that's taken from Bubba Watt. Did you get that nickname?
I did not. He told me everybody calls him Bubba.
Big Bubba?
Why don't you tell everybody why you're Bubba?
We had two Patricks on my basketball team, so my coach was like, "What's your favorite golfer?" And at the time, it was Bubba Watson, so that's
There you
what I went with.
go. You're Bubba.
He's Bubba.
Patrick is what, a junior at
Junior.
CB East?
Yes.
Okay. You play here a lot at Talamore?
Yeah.
All right. And your team plays at another one of our favorites, Look Away. Little plug for Look Away. You've been working how long with Lou Guzzi?
Almost 3 years.
3 years. And what has Lou kind of honed in on in particular with your game?
Mainly just getting my swing a little shorter. Sometimes it gets long, and just especially my putting, because it's always what I've really struggled with. I always could get it there, just not get it in the hole.
He must be a pretty good pupil.
Yeah, he's great. And you know, there's the key. And for the viewers out there, it's a score that counts more than anything else. Now, one of the things that's interesting about Patrick years ago when we first started to work on the swing, he had a little lift in his legs. We worked on that, got a little more stability at the bottom. We always knew that distance wasn't going to be an issue, but keeping it in the fairway, giving him the ability to have putts for birdies and eagles and to score and to take it low, and Patrick can take it low. You know, 6, 7 under par in a tournament, no problem. But the putting, getting it into the hole, keeping the head steady, rolling the rock. He's got a phenomenal flop shot. We're going to definitely see that today for sure. And the fact that he can swing at 122 plus miles an hour is a big help when you keep him in the fairway.
And your carry roughly what, 300?
Yeah.
Yeah.
300 yards. What is Patrick's normal trajectory? A little left to right?
Yeah, we want it to be left to right, especially since the fact that he can carry it as far as he can. Left to right, soft landing, you know, a la Jack Nicklaus, one of the greatest long iron hitters in the game, and you know, obviously we.
And that's consistent with every club?
It depends. You know, he can work it both ways. We're okay with, you know, a good golf shot doesn't move that much. You know, you hit a 9-iron, it's really not supposed to move more than a yard. So we're trying to keep it as straight as possible. One of the things that Bubba does so well is he swings the golf club. He feels the golf club in his hands. He has what I would call Clubface Awareness. And, you know, there's a caution out there for the viewers when you're building a golf swing. Bubba's golf swing looks very different than other juniors that I teach. And it's my responsibility to make sure that we work and find a way to make his golf swing work for him, especially under pressure. And that goes for everybody that's playing golf, whatever your pressure is. And in the case of your golf swing, 2 things that I was most interested in: shortening the backswing, taking it down a little bit, not hitting it so far, and getting the ball flight a little bit lower.
Okay, let's assume your position there, Bubba, and maybe you can talk about what was the backswing in terms of takeaway before you said, hey, wait a minute, we got to shorten this thing. Give us an example. Yeah. How far did you take it back before Lou had it honed in a little bit?
Probably just a little past parallel.
Okay, so Lou, you saw that and suggested what?
Well, one of the things that we did was we actually made short swings and long finishes. So instead of trying to bring it down from the top, we went the other way. So shorter swing, chip, full finish, and then from there we actually worked up so you feel a short backswing, full finish. In fact, can I jump in for a quick second? A demonstration of that would be, there's a little chip shot. So then we rehearse chip, full finish, which feels very weird in the beginning, but now we're set up, chip, full finish, and then we build the swing up from there. And then we get to the point where we like it on video. Next thing you know, he's not just hitting it far, but he's hitting it with more consistency.
We've taken the driver out of his hands, Lou, and Patrick now has, what, a 60-degree lob wedge, right? What do you work on here?
Well, when we go to the short game area, one of the things Patrick told me was how much he loved his lob wedge. And he feels his lob wedge around the greens. That's the club he wants to use the most. So I just wanted him to demonstrate what he could do. He has incredibly soft hands. As big as Bubba is, he's got a phenomenal short game. Soft hands, again, feel. You know, he's got, I would say, the best flop shot I've ever seen. Would you like to demonstrate that for everybody? Because it is awesome.
Okay.
And he uses that once in a while under pressure, especially when the greens are fast, pins are tight to the bunkers, flop shot works out. But overall, just good fundamentals on chipping, good feel. He works with his lob wedge. We work on a couple of different techniques, sometimes a little chip and run where the ball rolls a lot, but he's got great feel on his own. Most of the work that he's done on his own. So we've talked a little bit about strategy, but he works hard.
Let me ask you this, Patrick. You know, we hear so much about swing thoughts, and a lot of golfers get inundated with do this, do that. Is there one thing that you concentrate on when you're standing over the ball, regardless of the shot, before you pull the trigger?
I'm just a big feel player, and I like to work shots and kind of shape it, so I don't really just like hitting straight ball, so I like to have just a little movement to it, so yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good answer. Right?
What's your goals? What would you like all this to result in someday?
I definitely want to do something in golf, especially I want to play college golf at a pretty high level, so, and then even move on to being like a PGA pro. Or
there you go.
Well, listen, my advice to you, go south, go California, whatever. Stay warm. You don't want to come back. Pay Lou a visit.
All right, he can help us. He can help us load the wood.
There you go. All right. Hey, Patrick, it's been a pleasure meeting you.
Thank you.
I'll call him Bubba too, I
Got
guess,
it.
huh?
Bubba
There
it
you
is.
go. Prize pupil of this guy, Lou Guzzi. Good luck at CB East and beyond. I'm sure we'll be hearing about
He's a fine young man, too.
Patrick down the road. All right, stay with us. We will have our teed off panel coming up next right here on Inside Golf. And welcome back to Inside Golf. It's time for our teed off panel to talk about a topic of interest to you and everybody that follows the game of golf. We're here at Bluestone Country Club on a breezy fall day, and it's just beautiful. My hair's in place. I couldn't ask for better conditions. And I couldn't ask for a better panel. Mark Peterson, Executive Director of the Golf Association of Philadelphia, is back. It's been a while. Good to see you again,
It has been a
Mark.
while. Nice to be here.
Ken Dunnick.
Yes, sir.
Former pro athlete and now a publisher of maybe your favorite magazine, Jersey Man or Philly Man magazine.
Thank you, Harry. Great
Good
to be
see
here.
you again.
Yep.
And Joe Logan, speaking of publishers, noted golf writer and blogger, and the man that puts out all the time, myphillygolf.com. All right, Mark, recently we had the announcement from the United States Golf Association that the Women's Open in 2023, and I hope I'm around to see it. I'd love to go to Pebble Beach again and see the women play that iconic golf course. It's a nice shot in the arm for not only USGA, but also for women's golf.
Sure. I mean, a spectacular venue, one of the most known resort names in golf. So many historic championships there. So it'll be a great opportunity for the Women's Open. I'm sure the players are excited. I'm sure the USGA is excited.
Joe, and I know you're a North Carolinian, so you remember very well. I forget the year, but I think it was right after Marion, right? Down at Pinehurst number 2.
14.
The Men's Open played in June, and then the very next week they had the Women's Open. It was a doubleheader. It's like the old doubleheaders in baseball, you know. But that was considered a little bit out of the box.
It was.
What do you think in terms of how successful was that?
I think it was successful for the USGA because they saved a lot of money only having one, sort of setup, structural setup with all their stuff. So they liked it. Whether you can find another club that will give their facility up for 2 weeks, I don't know. But the idea of taking the Women's Open to big, iconic venues, they need that. They need that for the respect of the women's game. They need, I mean, all you got to do is play it from slightly forward tees. It's not like the courses are too much for them. They're the best women in the world. And they need that. I mean, this year's tournament was not the best one they've had. It was at Bedminster, and the attendance was low.
Right.
And
well, and I think, Kenny, you know, take it to another sport. I mean, or, you know, it's like women's basketball or whatever sport you want to talk about. If they can play on the same court that the men play on a regular basis,
right.
I think it has to add a little bit of pizzazz to what they're trying
There's
to
no
accomplish.
question the venue matters, and I agree with Joe, it would be a shot in the arm for the LPGA. And can you imagine if they won't do this, obviously, but if you had this event at Pine Valley or at Marion, I mean, it would be, or in Augusta, they may have it at Marion someday, but Augusta and Pine Valley, they would never have it there. But you're talking about venues like Pebble Beach and Marion. Those are natural draws for golf, and I can't imagine the LPGA wouldn't benefit from having events at those types of venues.
Well, you said never at Augusta or Pine Valley, I think, from a logistical standpoint, would be difficult for any event, men's or women's, right? But what about Augusta National? Now, we saw Billy Payne do things that none of his predecessors tried to do, and he took Augusta to another step or 5 during his tenure as chairman. Is Augusta a possibility down the road, do you think?
Well, they haven't called me to ask yet, my opinion.
But you'll let us know when they do.
I'll get right back to you. You know, who knows? They have a spectacular championship in the Masters. They've done wonderful things with drive, chip, and putt. It's certainly, the venue is there. It's a spectacular opportunity. But I think the other thing you need to consider is that it may be great to host it at these specific facilities that you're talking about, the Shinnecocks, the Marions, the really big names, Pebble, Pinehurst. But think about Lancaster Country Club. You know, that was a spectacular women's open because you had a local community get behind it. So while we're talking about what it would be for the reputation of the event or for the players, and I'm sure the players want to play the best facilities, I know I do. But think about it from a merchandise standpoint, from a volunteer standpoint, from a, you know, it's a tournament, right? It's a business opportunity. So from a revenue and expense side of it, you know, I think you have to have a proper balance is what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. Going to these spectacular facilities, sure, why not? Everybody loves to. We love to host events at Marion. But you also just have to provide the other opportunities that are good for the golf event itself from a championship standpoint.
Well, it's similar to what they did at Saucon Valley with the U.S. Senior Open, right?
The USGA.
We've all heard of Saucon Valley, but I think it really put Saucon Valley on the map. And the USGA is going back there, I think, with a women's event down the road. So
the USGA has discovered or learned in recent years that the Women's Open is best in smaller cities. Saucon Valley, Lancaster, there were huge successes there. When you put it in New York or at Marion, it can get lost sometimes, overshadowed. So I think they've learned it does go better there. As for the Augusta National, if it was ever going to happen with Fred Ridley, a former president of the USGA, taking over at Augusta National, now would be the time.
you heard it first right here. Joe Logan is saying.
Breaking news.
Breaking news, folks. The Women's Open, not too far down the road, is going to be at Augusta. Just kidding. Right? But that'd be a great call on your part.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll have to save it, put that out on social media. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Kenny. Thank you, Mark. We'll be back more of Inside Golf in just a moment.
Located in Bluebell, just a short drive from Plymouth Meeting, Bluestone Country Club offers a setting that's close at hand but feels like a world away. Bluestone offers a championship caliber golf course, practice facilities including a large driving range, separate chipping and putting areas, and a staff of PGA professionals. At the Country House at Bluestone, you'll find excellent food, superb service, and an outstanding setting. Their expert staff will assist in planning your next event, whether it's a wedding or simply a luncheon, dinner, or cocktail party. Check out Bluestone's variety of membership options. Much more than a golf course, Bluestone is a community. Hey viewers of Inside Golf, have you heard about Jersey Man and Philly Man magazine? Published by ex-Eagles and Philadelphia Stars tight end Ken Dunnick, these magazines offer the very best in content on subjects of interest to men. Writers include Glenn Macnell, Bill Line, and George Anastasia. And you can increase your business by attending our monthly private parties as an advertiser. Call 856-912-4007 or email ken@jerseymanmagazine.com for more information.
Along with being stewards of the game of golf, your local PGA professional wears many hats.
We are teachers.
We are players.
We are managers.
We are merchandisers.
And community leaders.
But we all wear one badge.
PGA professionals are well-trained experts who work hard to share the joy of golf with our neighbors for over 90 years. To find your local PGA professional, visit phillypga.com. Brought to you by the Philadelphia section of the PGA.
We are the experts in the game and business of golf.
That's going to do it for this week's edition of Inside Golf here at Tullamore with Lou Guzzi. He's all ready to go for the winter.
Absolutely.
And thanks to your tips, we are too.
My pleasure. There we go.
Seasonal tips from Lou Guzzi at the
seasoned
laboratory.
wood as well.
And an introduction to a potential star in Patrick Sheehan.
He's
Bubba.
doing great. Really good.
Wow.
Good stuff.
A lot of guys would pay a lot of money to get 122 swing speed, huh?
I think that ball's still up in the air.
I think it is. All right, listen.
Yes,
Put this one down. Pick up another tool, will you? You got some work to do here, Lou. You think your day's done?
Keep on swinging, right?
Keep on swinging. That reminds me. For Lou Guzzi, I'm Harry Donahue. No matter how bad it's going for you, don't pick up. Like Lou, there's always some work to do. And we'll see you next time on Inside Golf.
Inside Golf, now celebrating its 20th season, is presented by Destination Montco Golf. 54 courses, 300,000 yards. Check them out at montcogolf.com. By the First Tee of Philadelphia. The First Tee helps young men and women become better golfers, but most important, better people. Get involved. Visit thefirsttphiladelphia.org. By the Golf Association of Philadelphia, GAP, celebrating amateur golf since 1897. By Jersey Man Magazine, it's a Jersey way of life. And by Philly Man Magazine, bringing it to Broad Street. And by Inside Golf's partner since 1998, the Philadelphia Section PGA. Experts in the game and business of golf. Take time to thank your local PGA golf professional.